I'm Coulson, and this is my home in Nashville. I'd love to show you around.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Before today's episode, click the join button below to support all of the storytelling we do on this channel. Our growing community of members help to directly fund more videos so we can capture these extraordinary homes from around the world. So join today to receive early and exclusive access to new Homeworthy videos.
Hi, my name is Colson Horton, and I am an art director, set designer, prop stylist, interior stylist. Sounds like a lot of different things, but I am a creative. We are in Nashville, Tennessee. We live in an area called Oak Hill. It's super woody. It's like kind of tucked away. We back straight up to one of our parks here. So we live on a game trail, and there's just constant deer and turkeys and raccoons and all kinds of little critters around. So we're really close to downtown, but we're still have some of that like privacy and wooded area. Our house was built in the 70s, I think 73. It's a little interesting. It's like it's a ranch house, but we have a mansard roof line. So there is a little bit of a Frenchness to it, if you'd say. The French would probably not say that at all, but here in Nashville, we've got a little bit of jazz to it. So it's got a one level with a basement and then a little French roof line. So in the pandemic, man, like everybody, my husband and I were like, let's get out of town. You know, if we're stuck here, I think we need to leave. We were down in a beautiful city just a little bit below us called Franklin, but I think we just wanted like a little bit more space. I was looking for maybe even to move to an area called Monteagle, which is about an hour and a half away. You're really, really tucked away in the woods. And then we started just looking for a different house. We found this place. It had been on the market. Truthfully, I don't think people really knew what to do with it because it was on the market for a while, which is a very uncommon thing in Nashville. Like real estate was just getting eaten up left and right. And so before we started some renovation process, we just kind of kept driving by it. Like probably a little creepy, but we kept seeing this little house on the hill. Like I said, we back up to the woods. We back up to one of our parks, and that was incredibly appealing to us. No neighbors behind us. We're in a cul-de-sac, so we do have neighbors, but we have enough like greenery around us that it feels like we're still kind of tucked away a little bit. And we're in a sweet area. Nothing is overly developed. It's not like multiple lots on one house. It's just really, really very, I guess it feels easy to me, especially as I'm on the go a lot. It's like it feels hidden and yeah, kind of special. And so we bought it. It felt right. The first time we were up here taking the tour, we had 2 twin fawns in our backyard, and I was like, this is magic. Let's live here. So we bought it, and it's been such a gift in so many ways. Welcome to our sunken living room. It's so groovy. Straight up from the 70s. This house, I mean, who's got a sunken living room? It's so fun. When we first kind of renovated this space, this was really closed off. And so being able to have this as an entertaining section is such a joy for me. I think I want to start with that we added in a bunch of this dental molding. And I have a dear friend who has been working with me now for 6 years, my assistant, who's a beautiful, beautiful fine artist. And in my old home, she painted a beautiful mural, and I knew I wanted something special from her. And she painted this gorgeous ceiling mural. It's showcasing a beautiful piece of work from Kristen Georgi. And then my assistant's name, I should give her some credit, grief. Khaki Stanford hand painted this. It just so happened that we were able to find, after the fact, this chandelier, which completely mimics the fabric from Studio Mire, and she's in Italy. And so you see the fluidity of, I think it's called the nebula, but it's the movement really just kind of brings me to life. So I kept everything neutral in that regard because it's a ceiling mural. So we kind of toned it down a little bit. And then everything else was a little bit more neutral, aside from this sofa, which was a vintage piece that I bought from a friend. And the cool thing about it, I'll just moonwalk my way back here, is that it can be 3 different pieces. Next piece that I really love is this lavender cutting table from Provence. Bought locally at my sweet friend's Patina and Company here in town. They curate such a great selection of things, and you see straight on all of the chopping marks on the lavender. So cool. I mean, really, anything that tells a story is just right up my alley. These little fellas also came from my parents' house. He has a mate right here on the table. And again, the coffee table and the leopards were just something that was always in my parents' house. And when they started to kind of like disperse special things for them as they aged, I 100% stole them from my brothers so that they couldn't claim them. And now they're in my house. This rug is from a great dealer out of New York, Elico Rugs. And it's just an old Turkish rug. I wish I had more information on it, but I really love the muted color palette. I think it kind of gives enough life without having to like overpower a space. I do think there's a time and a place for a rug. I've got a really fun little runner happening down there from another local friend, but I think this is just kind of allows it to add a layer. I'm all about a layer. And then speaking of layers, I have my little platter full of Polaroids, which is kind of fun. It's like little mementos when you travel, ones with friends, my parents looking like James Bond and something in the 70s. And this is fun. It's like a cute way to just have little memories and keepsakes. Speaking of stories, this coffee table was from my parents' home, which again, the antiques and, special pieces really mean a lot to me. So I've grown up with this in my house for as long as I was born. My parents got it on a trip to Italy, and I just think it's really cool. And it doesn't look like anything else here, but I really like it. And these pieces right here are are French pieces too. And I like that it's a little bit different. It's just kind of like an odd mix, but for me, we've got some similar color palettes happening. So it makes kind of a weird amalgamation of all the things. Like I have every single type of century mixed together inside of one room, but for some reason it feels like it works for me. These are Tom Green. I love the brutalist movement, and I like just that you've got a lot of rough mixed in with some really refined dental molding. So it's all pretty weird. In our sunken, groovy living room. Sunken, groovy living room. My first impression of the house, I referenced that people didn't know what to do with the house. And that's maybe unfair, I guess, because it sat on the market for a while. It was lovely. It was just kind of a little more closed off. So first of all, every piece of molding in the house, my blessed wood trim carpenters installed. I mean, it was not full of dental molding and crown and beautiful wainscoting and chair rails and any of that. And so we opened up our hallway. It was closed off. We had a lovely mirrored dining room, which was special for the appropriate person, but maybe not for us at this stage in our life. Who knows? Maybe we'll come back to a mirrored dining room at some stage. We do have a sunken living room, which is pretty groovy. And so kept that and just kind of brightened things up. So we kind of just stripped out the top level. I haven't attacked our kitchen yet, and I haven't done any of the bedrooms and the bathrooms. But this main central floor, we've really kind of taken the bones to. So we opened it up so that it's, I don't want to say open concept, because each room I do think feels like it could be its own space. And I think that's what I like. When you walk into an open floor plan, you're almost exposed to everything. And the way that we did this renovation, it does feel a little bit more precious, that you can have some like privacy in certain spaces if you want. So yeah, so floors, the floors were dark, there was no trim. In this living room, this was like a brick fireplace. I think I'd mentioned maybe that we were able to raise the ceiling, which was really fun. Lots of wood paneling. And then my contractors and wood team, they were phenomenal, because I decided to put in jib doors in every available space so that it just kind of blended in, and all of the doors blended in with everything. So I'm sure that was really fun for them. All right, we're moving into the dining room, which is only just a few steps away. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the little bit of a color change. Most of the main space, the hallway and this sunken living room, are in a lovely white, and I wanted to infuse a little bit of color and personality. And because we made this more of an open space, I thought I could do that with the green. So I added in Benjamin Moore Tate Olive. It's such a lovely color. It's so easy and tranquil. It feels, especially because I love having the windows to outside, it just feels calming to me. So yeah, come on into the dining room / library. The bookcases are something we also put in. They were really because I found this incredible dragon mantle and I wanted to figure it out. And I wanted this room to also feel like it was a bit of a library. I have a lot of fun little tchotchkes and collect some really great books. And I just wanted it to feel, welcoming. So, first of all, this thing, massive, we brought it back from our last trip to Africa. It's so heavy, we hand carried it. That was maybe a mistake on the airport travel, but it's such a really interesting piece. Then these are also really prized little possessions. Full cat lady here. These are again by my assistant. She did charcoal portraits of my cats, which is really endearing. So over here, I think kind of in these bookcases, you can see my friends, Kendall and Kane Simmons, actually built these shelves. They're a beautiful team. And I love that I'm just getting started. So I kind of like that you're seeing it in a spot where it's not all the way finished. So maybe we'll home tour again. But yeah, you can see it's just things that I like a popsicle. I don't even know what it is. Popsicle stick container. Little things from my travels, pottery from my travels, my grandmother, art from local friends. This is one of my most prized. It's hand-picked butterflies from Desrolles in Paris, and I'm obsessed with it. Actually, if I could live in a taxidermied place with just shelves of an apothecary, if I could just live in Desrolles, that would be perfect. It's just natural curiosities everywhere. Here's my dragons. Here are some mushrooms. I told you it was gonna be a little weird. Here's a butterfly we found on Kilimanjaro, which was cool. I conned my husband into climbing the mountain with me last year. And we found butterflies mean a lot to us. And we found him on the climb on a really tough day. And so I packaged him and took him home with me. This is a great piece of light. It's 1970s Italian. My father-in-law helped me install some of the lighting in our house and really asked, he's like, is anything from the US? Is there any light that is going to be not complicated to install? And so far, no, there is nothing that is easy to install because it's all special with the story. My dragon mantle here was actually the first piece of, I'm going to call them art, I got for the house. It was even before we had started renovating. I was in a beautiful antique store here in town called Preservation Station. Saw it. He was definitely not green. And I was like, he's coming home with me. I have not ever seen a mantle as rad as this. I didn't even think, I don't have an intention to even put a fire in it. I just was like, it's so cool. So we built the bookcase around him, and I love him. I just think it's so cool, and there's really no other explanation about why it's here other than I felt like he belonged in the house. So on top of the mantle, also have a piece of art. This was a previous mayor of Portland, and it was a campaign that they had, I think in the 80s, late 70s or 80s, and it says, expose yourself to art, and he's flashing a statue, which is, way to go, Portland. So, so the library is just kind of filled with all kinds of little tchotchkes, a 12th century African bracelet that is weaponry. It was also packaged inside of this massive bowl, which again, I think was a mistake for a carry-on, but really special pieces. Favorite books, art, more art from Khaki. I mean, maybe I'm obsessed. The dining room table was found at a kind of a flea market that we have in town called the Gas Lamp. And I got it for $500, which was awesome because usually I'm bound to pick the most expensive thing in the store inevitably. So the fact that this was such an incredible steal, because then we had to figure out how to get it home. But it's such a pretty table. We do have to figure out how to adjust the height because it's a little bit tall for people when they sit down. But still, such a great piece. I don't know if you can see any of the legs. Kind of rare to find some gorgeous sculpting like that these days. I think it's walnut. And then these two head chairs, they're a bit massive for the table, but I liked them and I didn't know where else to put them, so that's why they're here. But they came from the very first house that my husband and I had together, and I thought they were just pretty, and it's fun to have nostalgic things. So that's there. And then these are from West Elm. I would describe my style, as maybe a little weird. Curated. I think definitely curated. I love to travel. I get to travel with work. So that allows me to really kind of find these special pieces. My mom, I grew up in the South. Born in Texas, grew up in Atlanta, living in Nashville. I've lived kind of in a lot of other places, but definitely Southern rooted. And my mom was just loved antiques, loved to go find really special pieces. And she instilled the value of craftsmanship to me, and to say, like, if you're going to invest in something, try to know where you're getting it from, who's making it. And then also, if you can find something that is a special piece, you'll find a place for it. Just grab it. If it's speaking to you, just grab it. So I think in my house, you'll probably see there's a lot of diverse pieces. I wouldn't go all the way to say eclectic, but I'm pretty curated. I'm a weird curated person. Right off of the dining room is the sunroom. This room, I think, was one of the reasons really why I wanted to buy the house. It has so many windows. It has that elevated ceiling, which is so nice, but really it's just the connectiveness to nature. I haven't even done any gardening or anything outside in the yard yet, and I'm still love that it's just woods, and it's been really special to be a part of this room. One of the main things that kind of helped me design the whole house was actually this wallpaper. So I picked all of my other colors based off of this paper. It was the room I knew I was going to install. It's House of Hackney. They do the most lovely, beautiful designs. I think this is actually coming off of their version of a William Morris print, and I loved it. We still are going to be redoing our floors in here, so that's kind of a fun thing for me to look forward to. And I still need to find a light fixture. But it's nice that I kind of like working in stages, because then I can live in it a little bit and also still make sure I'm not making a mistake later, because everyone loves to redo a project 3 times. Anyhow, so in here we painted the ceiling, we painted the trim, we did, like I said, the wallpaper. And then I kind of started with some pieces that I already had. Like this was an old settee. It was from our first house, and I haven't decided if I want to reupholster it or even put in a new sofa, but I thought it worked well in this space at the time, and I think there's an importance to also using what you have. Some gorgeous antique chairs from Ennaby, also a fun local dealer, and they're pink mohair, which is great. And then these, I just feel like you should guess how heavy they are and how fun it was to move them, and why I'm probably not going to move them out of this room again, because they're full pink marble, real heavy, but they are so gorgeous, and I don't know the history on them, but I just know I am obsessed with them. And then kind of right above them are these really pretty light fixtures. These are 1920s. Again, come from a local spot called Preservation Station, and I just thought they were so delicate. You can tell that I apparently am not afraid to mix generations or styles or anything, but I really, when you like it, when you know, you know. What else is in here that's the most fun? These chairs are from Soho Home, which are not not an antique piece, but really fun. And they're a sweet client of mine, and so I like having that too, representation. Let's see. This is just some huge stump. I don't have anything else about it except for that it's kind of cool, and I like mixing in what's happening outside and to the interior. And maybe everybody's favorite, or maybe my favorite, is the glassware. I'm just a glassware junkie. I love it. I love all time periods of it. Should we cry? It's so beautiful. I don't know how to explain how lovely this piece of glass is, but I love it all. And so I was like, I'm gonna just kind of curate some pretty glassware, and then we can have a cocktail together. I think that my career has informed my style and aesthetic in a way that is particular, depending on if I'm working with, in front of the lens or behind the lens or whatnot. I typically style to the camera. So if we're working on print or whatnot, we would design around what the frame is going to be. So in my house, maybe that is why I'm a little more like kind of have little vignettes everywhere, because I kind of make like little curated moments. But I think more than anything, I had a beautiful education in color, in texture, in composition, and education, formal education for sure, but also just through so much experience. When you're on the job, when you're working with a client or whomever, your role is to place things together, no matter what your technical position is. And so I learned a lot of those technical skills that I think allowed me to have fun here. In my previous home, I had a lot of gray, and I think that was also maybe what was trending, and also what, maybe I think your home might also be kind of where you are internally. So there was, I wasn't quite as vibrant as I wanted to be. And when we came here, I knew I wanted some punchy color. And I think my work has allowed me to be bolder. Or actually, I should say, my work has allowed me to know when to be bold, like when to say yes and when to say no. And now that I'm definitely more seasoned in my job, I feel comfortable like being able to say, yes, let's go for it. Why not? No, we don't need to. That's not where the impact needs to be. In our hallway is the very prestigious Jerome, who is my lovely statue. I love him. I love that he happened to be the same color of green as my dining room. And for some context, the green dining room library is right behind you. So he ties it all together, but he's wearing an African tribal necklace. He's worn party hats before. He's worn a couple of other things, but this is his current little piece. And I think it's really fun and he brings me joy. And he's also sitting on this gorgeous viola marble. This is such a gorgeous piece of art. I don't know the provenance of it at all, but I love the color palette. It just kind of speaks to me. And I had it before we lived in this house, and the colors, I guess that's what I kind of brought everything together, but it fit right here between here and the lovely green, and then the blue. We've got Hague blue is our blue color in this room, and that's really like a nice little cornerstone for me. I find inspiration, it sounds like a calendar. I'm like everywhere. I feel like there's like I need an eagle poster behind me or something. But I try to live very purposefully, and sometimes there's a lot of chaos happening in my life, but I think that because I want to value each day and really try to hone in being present, I find the inspiration everywhere. I really do. I love to be outside. I recharge in nature. I love to like I said, when I came up and found this house and there's a bunch of little baby fawns and we have 35 turkeys out in the yard, which is like, what? That is inspiring to me. I mean, it could be the colors of their feathers. It could be, formation. It could be texture. Really so many things. But I recharge out in the woods. I recharge traveling. I love to explore. I love to find different experiences. I love to talk to different kinds of people. Just to be open. I think we need that humanity. I think everybody needs that, to stop and not be rushing around and really ground yourself and ground ourselves here. Welcome to my powder room. It's one of my favorite places inside of the house because no one can find it. It's inside of this jib door, also hidden doors, which my contractor hated me for because I put them all over the house. Here we go. Welcome to the powder bath. Beautiful paper. Again, it's nature inspired, Brunching and Fee. And then this little creepy piece of art that I pasted googly eyes on just to give some conversation in here. Some Kelly Wearstler lighting. She's the best. And yeah, that's about all that's happening in here. I did jewel box it out, so it is painted on the top and the bottom and the trim work everywhere. But yeah, that's the restroom, if you can find it. My favorite part about our house is that, I have so many favorite parts. That's a great feeling. My favorite part about my house is that I like my house. I think it feels like home. I feel at home here, and I think I do appreciate that people can also feel at home here. That when friends come to visit or my family comes to visit, it doesn't feel like things are overly precious that you can't touch or use or feel afraid to sit in. Like it's not a museum type of house, but it still feels like there's been, effort kind of put in. So I like that. I like that our house feels cozy to other people, or inviting, I should say, at least to other people. So I've been told. I definitely didn't design it with that in mind. I just tried not to isolate my husband by doing everything myself and not making it feel like he was living in a woman's home. It was his too. So that was what I was going for, is to try to make it feel like it was also his house. So yeah, that makes me really happy when people feel good in my home. Other than that, we have a lot of windows, and I like the natural light, and I think that even allows me to play with color in a different way because I do get so much light. Welcome to the Blue Room, named the Blue Room because it's blue, also called my living room. This room was also really fun to work on. We didn't know that we could raise our ceilings when we were first in this project, and my husband and I weren't really thinking very structurally, but we're like, if our sunroom has 14-foot ceilings, maybe everywhere could have 14-foot ceilings, but that's not how architecture works. However, our contractor did let us know that we could raise the roof on this room, and I'm so happy that we have a little bit of that extra height. To kind of kick things off, I have this fabulous chandelier, the cherry on the top on every room, right? Steel Novo, antique. It's Italian, but I bought it in France. Again, my father-in-law was loathing the installation. And also the lighting is like a refrigerator light bulb for European lights. So definitely doesn't give off. It's really more ambiance, but I sure love it. The other thing that we put into this room that makes me excited is we implemented a picture rail alongside all of the trim work that we did. So we put in a jib door, put in all of the trim, and then the picture rail was a great way for me to be able to hang art in different places without actually putting it into more of a high gloss room. And then I've got, just kind of an interesting curation of art, which some of it's really fun and some of it's just personal. This is George. He came from Dorothy Draper's estate, which is so cool for me. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. He's just happy to be here, and I'm happy he's here. Kind of some other fun little tchotchkes. Again, like I love the butterflies from Derol. Some mocha ware, little pieces of like art that I've collected around my travels. Surprise, surprise, another plinth that's heavy and in the room, but also it's just holding some oranges. Again, I love the art. Ellsworth Kelly. This is an ink from France, and just kind of speaking to me. This lady back here is actually one of my newer pieces that I've put up, and I just love her. I love her story. I think she's interesting. I love the colors, everything about it. And the dealer told me that the man who painted it was actually a very famous screenwriter in France in the 30s. And I love that he worked kind of in my same film. I'm not on the screen side, but I work in the art department. So that just felt really cool that I didn't know that story before I bought it. So I love that. A big old comfy sofa and other little fun pieces of art that we've got around here. I'm trying to think what else is really special. This beautiful book that was a book of poetry that my mom and dad got on their honeymoon. And I just keep it along with some little seedlings and another piece of art because I like to collect stuff. And let's see. Oh, here's a whole container of collected stuff. Pipe, piece of wood from Kilimanjaro. I came back with a lot of stuff I probably wasn't supposed to take back with me. Also Exhibit A. I'm sorry, Africa. Just collections of things as I go around. My grandmother's crossword pencil before she passed away. A cork from a good time with some girlfriends. This is a scooter that sometimes I ride around in. And it kind of looks like it's like a Tiny Tim scooter up against my fireplace. But my old company, I used to work for a Louis Vuitton, and this was my gift when I left the brand, which was pretty fun. And so now I zip around in my scooter, and it's super bougie, but here it is. Thanks for the memories. The blue room is our full-on let's chill room. I mean, it's our movie room, our TV room, listen to records, just sit by the fire. This room, in so many different seasons, because we've got a couple of different windows and we're up high, it feels like we're in a little treetop, or I like to imagine that I'm in a little treetop. So I love just feeling cozy and comfortable in here. It's not formal in any way, and so it feels very relaxing to me. And so this is our like, let's just rest. That's this room. If I back over here awkwardly on the sofa, this actually makes me laugh. Yes, this is a stick. It came from Arizona out it. It's a juniper branch, and it was all twisted because of the energy that's happening out there, but I brought it home with me in the airport as a carry-on because I just loved its twisted, beautiful branches. The rug in this room was purchased from a local rug gal, Relic Home, and she just happened to have this colors. Originally, I had put it in my dining room, and then I switched it around, and I'm so happy with it in here. I at first was thinking it might feel too bold, but I kind of just took it and ran. I'm like, if we're going to go big in this room, let's just go ahead and go for it. So I love an antique. I love a Turkish rug. These colors were kind of speaking to me. I love all the rust tones. This is a Faro and Ball Hague Blue. And I was inspired by this color because it was pulling from a blue and a paper in my sunroom. So I kind of took that House of Hackney paper that's all the beautiful flowers and color. I didn't all the way color match each one, but I knew I wanted to bring people through the space and feel like it wasn't disjointed. So I took some of the blue tones from there and found this. I think we are so much in an age of more, or let's get it done immediately, or I just want to, go to a box store and maybe buy everything that you might see in a catalog. So I think that the soul portion of the home comes from surrounding yourself with things that you love. And that could be different. That's going to be different inevitably for different people. There's pieces that kind of make me smile, and though that juxtaposition between functionality and purpose and your personality is what's going to bring the soul to the house. So that's why mine is filled with lots of weird traveled tchotchkes or things from my family that I've picked up, or memories that you're like, oh, there's a champagne cork in this little bowl over here because I remember the night that was really fun. And it's probably cluttery to some people, but for me, those are like fun memories, and that's the joy. And why not? Why not have your house filled with things that bring you joy? All right, so now I'm going to show you a space in my kitchen that I've been working on. It's a little kitchen nook. I can't wait to show you. All right, this is something that's really fun. This is an old TV Amois that was in my parents' house, and my mom won it off my dad in a bet from the famous tennis match with Billie Jean King and Schmurmer Nurmer guy that I can't remember because it doesn't matter because Billie Jean King won. And so, open it up. The TV is here. There's a record player. There's an 8-track. All of the functions of the Amois, and I just made it into a little coffee bar. So it's a fun way to start the day. And then I get to keep some fun little mugs and yeah, it's my coffee station. I just put in new fabric. This was, I think, S. Harris, if I'm not mistaken, but kind of lightened it up a little bit. I wanted my kitchen to feel like butter. So I love like a soft butter yellow. And I'm in the process of redoing my kitchen, so I'm going to show you some parts of it, but you just know that we're working on it. Mwahahaha. But what is done is this little nook. So this again, you guys know I'm a sucker for some lighting. Man, Tom Green, Brutalist, I got him off of an old Instagram post that had been up for like 70 weeks or something like that. And I bought it for $200. What? That's crazy. A pub table from my parents' house, a lovely little antique chair from another interior designer, local Robin Rains. And then this settee is so special. Again, another antique piece and had it reupholstered in Rosanaki. I love it. It's like the butter yellow I kind of was talking about, except for I'm going to make you work for it. We kept the trim. So the trim is original to the piece, and I thought that was really cool. This lady was from Peru, and she's real old. And she, again, I took from my parents' house. They probably don't have anything in their house anymore because it's now all living here. Another pedestal. My girlfriend Britt sold me this really fun dried flowers. And that's and then again, little tiny hands portrait man over yonder. He's was sourced from a local vendor in a bee. So lots of fun little things happening here. I like there's the big frame window. It's probably blown out and you can't see it, but I see all my wildlife. My deer are always out there and I'm encouraging them by feeding them all the time. All right, so the kitchen layout was something, my husband, thank you, dear Lord, is the cook in our house. So one thing that he was excited about was this kitchen layout. And I'm not gonna fight him on him because I basically did the rest of the house. So what I am switching out are just a couple of little things. I took out some big posts that were here in the bar, and I changed the lights here, and then maybe like the kitchen hardware, but that's about it. So I have some work to do for what I would like. I brought in these fun little 70s stools, and then somehow I'm gonna figure out how to hang this bar footrest because it's awesome and it has some lion heads on it. But just hanging it seems to be a little bit of a challenge, but I'm gonna figure it out. So what I'm thinking, and you can just tell me how you feel. I'm gonna keep this black. I'm going to keep the marble countertop, and then I'm just gonna switch out all of this backsplash. So we're gonna put the light switches, the electrical, all in up here, and then we'll put a full-length fluted tampered marble up here so it'll feel kind of really clean. And then I'm just gonna switch out this faucet and probably do some panel-ready appliances. I just feel like I want this whole kitchen to feel kind of easy. I know that's probably not a trend right now where it just disappears, but I think that's what I would like to have, especially because I have some vibrant rooms in the house. So panel-ready appliances and just probably this cool tampered marble or a variation of it, something like that on the backsplash. Home it's where you can come in, feel comfortable, be yourself, allow people into your space that make you better, that it's a precious time to recharge. It's a place to invite your loved ones. It's a haven, a safe haven. It's a place of creativity. It's a place of rest. I think it's so many different things. And even just to simplify that it is the people that are in your space. For me, it doesn't always have to be about walls, but the home is really where you're holding the things that are most precious to you.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.